Hello everyone and welcome back on BlockGems. On BlockGems we talk about what is going on in the non-fungible token space, and today we're going to talk about MoonCats, and specifically we're going to talk about the project MoonCat Rescue and all the quirks and features of this project. So first of all, what are these MoonCats? MoonCats are digital cats saved on the blockchain. So you might be wondering if this is a copy or yet another copy of the CryptoKitties project, which is now largely famous and one of the seminal projects when it comes to NFTs. Well, in reality, they're not a copy at all. First and foremost, because they predate CryptoKitties. So MoonCats are an older project compared to CryptoKitties, and we will talk about this specific aspect a little bit more in a couple of minutes. But first, I wanted to discuss what I consider probably the most interesting feature of this project. They are the first example of generative art on the blockchain, and this is because if you compare it with a project such as CryptoPunks, in the CryptoPunks case, you would know how all the 10,000 CryptoPunks would look like even before they were started to being collected. So for instance, you would go on the Lava Labs website, you would select the CryptoPunks that you would like the most and you would buy it. Or if you're talking about collecting from the primary edition, from the moment that they were minted, they were came into existence, they were given away for free, but you would still know how they would look like. You could still choose which CryptoPunk you wanted to collect. In this case, it is very, very different because you wouldn't know which MoonCat you are minting, and the collectible that you would end up owning would be completely different, completely new every single time, and you would have no idea before you collect it, before you mint it, before you mine it, if you will. So how does it work in practice? It's little bit technical, but the seed that defines the feature of the cat is connected with the latest block mined on the Ethereum blockchain. So the seed is always new, and the seed will change the feature that the shape, the color, and the attributes that each and every cat has. So it is in the hands of the rescuer to press the button that will allow the cat to be rescued, the cat to be minted, but at the end of the day, he's never going to know what he's going to get. And there are more than 4 billion combinations, but there are only 25,600 cats in existence. And I say that they are in existence because they've all been mined already. The last one was mined on the 13th of March, if I'm not mistaken, 13th of March of this year. And this is very interesting because, as I mentioned before, this is a very, very old project. More on that in a second. But all the cats were mined very recently. The vast majority of the cats were mined in the last week or so, in the last couple of weeks max. The vast majority of the cats were mined recently, and this project in itself was not very well known, not known at all before 2021, although it appeared on the blockchain on 2017. So as mentioned, all cats are different, but some subset of cats, the so-called Genesis cats, are more rare, are more special. They hold more value, and this is because the Genesis cats costed more to be mined, and there was a specific mechanism that regulated the issuance of these Genesis cats. I will not go into details of that, but it is just important to know that owning a Genesis cat is different from owning all the other ones that follow. There are only 256 of those, and they have a different level of rarity, and they can be easily identified. So what is also interesting is that this project is the brainchild of a duo that goes by the name of Ponderware. And I find this interesting because they took inspiration, they were inspired by another duo, the duo behind Larva Labs, which created CryptoPunks. In fact, the Ponderware duo openly states on the MoonCats rescue website that they were inspired by CryptoPunks, and they wanted to add this generative aspect to the idea of creating collectibles on the blockchain. However, there is a particular feature that they share with CryptoPunks, and it is the fact that they do not adhere to the ERC 721 standard. This is super important. What we are saying here is that this project is so old that the ERC 721 standard wasn't even born yet. So in practice, in concrete terms, these tokens look just like very weird ERC20 tokens. And let's take a look at another important information that is saved on the blockchain, and that relates to the time at which this project was launched. We're talking about a project that dates back to August 2017, whereas the CryptoPunks project dates back to July of that same year. This makes the MoonCats project just a touch younger compared to CryptoPunks, and this is super interesting because we know how much people value CryptoPunks because of their historical significance, because of how old they are in this landscape. So something to keep in mind when we are considering if they're worthy of a spot in our collection or not. Another interesting aspect is that there is a market embedded inside the app. So this decentralized application contains a system to exchange, to trade MoonCats, and this makes a lot of sense because at the time there wasn't the idea of OpenSea. There were not all these secondary market, and there was not a standard. So they've also created a secondary market for these cats, and you even today can use this market to exchange trade cats or adopt them if we want to use the definition provided by the application here. And however, this is not the only option that you have. This is because you, as much as they are not ERC 721 token, you are able, as of today, to wrap them into an ERC 721 standard. There are many guides online. I just provide reference to this one here. You can find your own if you want, if you own a MoonCat and you want to wrap it in an ERC 721. But what this means, and it's actually very important, is that we can make this asset more liquid. This is because if you want to list it on OpenSea, which is a market that receives a lot of attention every day, a lot of traffic every day, maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to wrap it into an ERC 721 to receive more traffic, more attention, and it's pretty cool if you ask me, because you're not bound to only one specific market to sell your assets. Now, if you want to dive a little bit into the technicalities of how this project works, this is an interesting post that I found on Reddit about the topic. It is a little bit technical, but it still provides a high-level explanation on how it works, and also how the features are determined. These are some examples of wrapped MoonCats on sale, for sale on OpenSea, and we can see that the floor is already pretty high, especially when we compare it to the price that they had when they were first launched. They were less than half about 1 week ago. So we have seen a rather strong appreciation in a rather small amount of time. I want to disclose that I do own MoonCat, and that I bought it at a price that is higher than the price that represents the floor as of today. So the market is proving me wrong on my investment. However, I still deem them worthy as a collectible in general and for the long term, for a number of reasons. Some of them I have covered in this video. So for one, we're talking about a very, very old project for the blockchain standard. 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago, is a lifetime for blockchain, for the blockchain speed of evolution. And also, this project has a very interesting story. It sort of represents the first example of blockchain archaeology, when indeed people find something interesting on the blockchain and it gets rehyped out of nowhere. This story in itself makes it interesting and makes you want to hold a piece of this history, of this phenomenon, if you want. So there is also another interesting aspect, which is the generative art aspect. I'm not aware of another project that has a similar scope in terms of generative art that is that old. Yes, there are other generative projects available on the blockchain right now. I covered one pretty recently. That project is, for instance, Art Blocks. And I need to say that just the simple existence of MoonCats made me rethink my purchase of Chromie Squiggle. If you check the video that I've done on the Chromie Squiggle, it's about 1 week old now. I was very enthusiastic about it because Art Blocks represented the first example of a system to create generative art. They were not the first example of generative art in general, but they were the first system that allows this creation. Now, also because of MoonCats, I'm not that sure that they are so unique that they hold this award. This claim is so strong, let's say, as I was convinced of just 1 week ago. However, the market is proving me wrong because Chromie Squiggle have been increasing in price compared to last week, compared to when I made the purchase of my Chromie Squiggle. And on the other hand, the MoonCats are decreasing in prices compared to my purchase. Now, do I still believe that in the long term I will have more returns for my MoonCat when compared to my Chromie Squiggle? Yes, I do, and this is why I still hold the positions the way I have them. Let me know what you think in the comments, and remember that this video is just for entertainment purpose, so none of this is investment advice. Do your own research before making any purchase of any collectible, and if I helped you with some research, please remember to subscribe to the channel, allow for notifications, hit the like button, and thank you very much, and see you in the next video.